today's video, I'd like to talk to you about motion sensor blocking and smart dimming when using our smart scene plate option. So let's jump into ECS and have a look. So in the general tab, we set the operating mode to be smart scene plate. Jump into the smart scene plate menu. We're going to leave everything else set up as a default configuration. We have another video on smart scene plate basic setup that I'd recommend watching before this video. But for today's video, we're going to look at the motion sensing blocking object options. So the first thing we need to do is enable the motion sensor blocking. This gives us options on the polarity of the motion sensor blocking. We've let it the default that our motion sensor 360 uses, which is 1 to block and 0 to unblock. The benefits of the blocking object are that when you turn the rim on using the switch, you don't really want the motion sensor, or you might not necessarily want the motion sensor to then time out and turn the lights off after a period of time. You might want to block the motion sensor from its automatic functionality and leave that rim on for an indefinite amount of time. Or you might want to extend the timeout on the PIR or do all sorts of other things with regard to the blocking. And I'd recommend having a look at our PIR blocking videos, which are separate and relates to our motion sensor with regard to how the motion sensor behaves when it gets blocked. But essentially what we're looking at in this video is the fact that our keypad has a single, when used in smart scene plate mode, has a single smart scene plate motion sensor blocking output that is completely managed within the keypad. So it doesn't matter what on scene you select, the motion sensor will always be blocked with a 1-bit 1. And when you turn the rim off, either by toggling the middle button or by pressing the selected scene button, by pressing the button that represents the selected scene, the motion sensor will be unblocked with a 0. So all of that management of unblocking and blocking the motion sensor on all the different buttons is kind of taken care of. And all you need to do as an integrator is enable the motion sensor blocking and connect the motion sensor blocking output to the motion sensor blocking input on your PIR. The other thing that I'd like to talk about in this video is action on long press. So by default, the action on long press is do nothing, but we can be a little bit clever if we'd like to. And instead of do nothing, we could put the keypad to do single button toggle dimming on long press. So what does this mean? So what this means is if we came into the room, we pressed the center button, and then maybe the last selected scene, which in this case was maybe top left, got turned on, it would be turned on at that scene's default settings. But then if the client thought the room was a bit dark or a bit bright, the natural reaction would be to go up to that button for the selected scene and press and hold it to dim the lights up. Now, typically KNX keypads wouldn't support this, but we've added the ability to do a long press for 4-bit dimming, even when you're using scenes. So what you have is you have this 4-bit dimming output, and that needs to be connected to the 4-bit dimming inputs of all of the lighting channels that are controlled via the scenes that are being called up by this keypad. And what that gives the client is a really intuitive, easy to use scene control pad that can be which can also be used for dimming the lights up and down. If you've got any questions, please let me know. Thanks.